all seasons of The Boys and Gen V ranked worst to best. The Boys debuted on Prime Video in 2019, and the universe has grown widely since, with 5 memorable seasons dropping alongside 2 seasons of its spin-off show, Gen V. Focusing on a realistic depiction of superheroes, The Boys highlights some of the more sinister realities of having people with superpowers being relied upon to protect the world. Their resilient nature makes the possibility of them going rogue much darker, with the central antagonist, Homelander, perfectly highlighting what a narcissistic and uncontrollable Soup would look like. The series also explores how these superheroes are branded, with Vought International using them less as crime fighters and more as merchandise sellers. Although the franchise will continue through spin-offs, The Boys Season 5's controversial ending and Gen V's cancellation bring an end to the franchise's current timeline, at least for now. This could continue given the IP remains a hit for Prime Video, but the main show's conclusion lets us officially rank every season of The Boys and Gen V once and for all. After Gen V Season 1 set a pretty high bar, Season 2 failed to quite capitalize on this momentum the way the franchise would have hoped. There were still obvious moments of quality, such as Hamish Linklater's performance as Cypher, alongside how Gen V honored Chance Perdomo's death. But the story failed to live up to The Boys' usual quality. Thomas Godolkin's reveal felt rushed, while many of the main heroes made decisions that were frustrating to the audience and at times out of character, whereas the first iteration used cameos from the main show extremely well. Without hurting this fresh new project, Season 2 struggled to bring in familiar faces without them feeling out of place. That said, Starlight had a short yet sweet role that worked, while Stan Edgar really stole the show during Episode 6. Gen 5 Season 2 did continue introducing fun new soups and abilities into the show, while having genuinely high stakes, proving it was still a worthy entry, despite falling just short of the mark. Harshly, it goes down as the weakest outing yet in The Boys universe, but there is still plenty to admire about the spin-off's second installment, and while it may not have gotten the best out of all its main cast, Cypher proved to be a standout addition, while the project perfectly bridged towards The Boys Season 5. The Boys Season 4 was easily the most anticipated outing so far, but its political satire and slow-paced storytelling ultimately divided audiences, leading to mixed reviews. While the season still performed well critically, The Boys Season 4 received a rotten audience score on Rotten Tomatoes, becoming the first installment in the franchise to do so. Although some of that criticism is valid, a lot of the negativity resulted from The Boys' social commentary and political themes, proving the audience score is not an accurate reflection of the season's overall quality, as there were still plenty of high points. New additions like Sisters Sage and Firecracker elevated the show and continued to make the Seven fascinating, despite losing Queen Maeve. Likewise, A-Train's redemption was a great storyline, and The Boys Season 4's ending was one of the show's most exhilarating episodes yet, setting up a thrilling final outing. Ultimately, Season 4 was hindered by the confirmation of the 5th and final season, which created a lack of jeopardy while even some of the stronger plots had filler elements as The Boys played for time ahead of its grand finale. Having said that, Season 4 proved that even at its weakest, The Boys is still a great series that can keep its audience entertained. After years of build-up, The Boys Season 5 proved to be the franchise's most divisive entry by far. Its final 2 episodes hold the lowest ratings of any outing in the main show or Gen 5. And while this is largely down to review bombing, it's clear not everyone loved this superhero parody's final ride. Given these final few episodes do squander some big opportunities and have some of The Boys' lowest lows, it's understandable why there was some frustration towards Season 5. However, it also has some of the highest highs, as the premiere did a great job of showing how Homelander's reign of terror had taken its toll on several main characters. Likewise, it gave us a huge main character death off the rip, suggesting the road ahead would be messy and climactic. Unfortunately, Season 5 never really lived up to these high expectations, but The Boys finale did deliver some great character endings and go out on a high, even if the audience reviews don't reflect this. Some of the general ideas were good in isolation, but they simply arrived at the wrong time and would have worked much better in previous seasons. Likewise, had it spent less time setting up its next spin-off and focused more on raising the stakes and bringing back the atmosphere that made the show so good originally, its fate could have been so different. As it stands, The Boys suffered the same reception as many modern TV endings by alienating part of its audience during its final run. Still, it would be unfair to overlook some of the great work done in Season 5, hence why it ranks higher than its predecessor and Gen 5 Season 2, despite not being the farewell many fans hoped for. Despite being one of the weaker installments in the Boys franchise so far, Season 3 was still a fantastic season of television. Its 6th episode, Herogasm, is arguably the best episode in the entire series, highlighting that Season 3 is still full of quality. It introduced Soldier Boy, a memorable character portrayed by Jensen Ackles, who proved so popular that he was brought back for a cameo in Gen V. And after seasons of build-up, Homelander and Billy Butcher finally had a physical confrontation when Butcher decided to take Temp V. Much of the story revolved around this substance, giving the boys a chance to fight back on a level playing field against Supes. Season 3 also showed the division between the main characters, with Huey and Starlight becoming split on how to approach fighting Vought. The lack of unity between the main cast made for a great narrative, but also dragged the season down a little. Having separate the boys' characters take their own approach somewhat slowed the flow of the season, and as great as Soldier Boy's addition was, he failed to really help progress the overarching story. Still, even if Season 3 wasn't the series' best season, it continued adding drama to the boys' Homelander and Butcher feud heading into Season 4, while also providing audiences with laughs and shocking moments. Gen V was a surprise inclusion to the boys' universe. The franchise has often parodied other superhero brands for their extended universes, making a spin-off that tied in with the main series unexpected. While this could have easily gone wrong, Gen V proved to be fantastic and helped offer fans a new setting for the crazy world of the boys. The spin-off followed a group of students at Godolphin University who discovered some of the institution's dark secrets, and the show did a great job of giving each of their main characters proper development and interesting powers, while also tying neatly into the franchise's main story. Characters such as Victoria Newman, Ashley Barrett, and even members of the Seven all had significant appearances throughout the show that served the plot well. Additionally, the conclusion featured Homelander showing up and seemingly supporting a Supe takeover, which meant Gen V's ending set up The Boys Season 4 perfectly. Alongside hyping up future installments, Gen 5 also did a great job of introducing its own plotlines and characters that will become a big part of the franchise. Therefore, the spin-off experiment was successful, and despite the boys somewhat rewriting Gen 5, the show's impact will still be felt in this fictional universe for years to come. The very first season of The Boys is easily one of the show's best, and it instantly put the franchise on the map, introducing a more realistic depiction of superheroes and what it would be like if many of them were selfish, was something that hadn't found this level of mainstream appeal. The superhero medium has become so popular that there has been a bit of fatigue around it, yet The Boys proved to be a breath of fresh air. With such a fast start, the show highlighted it wasn't going to pull its punches, and A-Train killing Robin in the opening sequence proved exactly that. Establishing all its different characters and their motivations was done extremely well in Season 1, and it managed to build a truly memorable world. The Boys indicated its strongest Supes were to be feared, and that while the protagonists of the show didn't lack motivation or intelligence, they couldn't go toe-to-toe with these powerful beings. The Boys is full of outrageous moments that are only possible due to Season 1's bold introduction, and this compelling idea of regular people trying to take down superheroes is what made Season 1 work so well, allowing Gen 5 to come in with an even riskier opening season. Out of every season The Boys has produced, Season 2 is the best of them all. It mimics many of the same qualities as Season 1, but builds off its success to become crazier and more chaotic. Despite already having Homelander, the show introduced another villain named Stormfront who was just as bad, if not worse. She projected her white supremacist beliefs onto Homelander's son, Ryan, which even stunned the show's biggest villain. By already having most of the key characters introduced in the season prior, this 8-episode run allowed them to be further developed and have stronger character arcs. Much like Gen 5, The Boys Season 2 benefited from Season 1's bravery, and allowed the show to become even more outrageous. It really pushed the limits in terms of what they could get away with, and made it clear that The Boys was like no other show on TV. Starlight, Kimiko, and Queen Maeve uniting together and defeating Stormfront also proved to be a satisfying conclusion to the season that amplified each character. Overall, The Boys Season 2 is the show at its best, and while every project since has maintained a similar quality, the franchise is yet to clear the high bar it set in 2020, despite coming close.